iGamers, the new Rivals 2 patch is out today, and it actually has a good amount of balance changes in it, so I thought it would be necessary to make a video to keep us all on the same page. I'm going to have a more organized scripted video out later on this week though, so look forward to that as well. Though, right now we have our new Ranger Forestburn mid-month bundle. Another new visitor appears from an alternative reality. Our latest bundle includes the Ranger Forestburn skin emote, icon, and the Aether Legends critical hit effect. His cloak now features a new digital pattern, with its color also matching his new dagger, while his smoke effects take on a new look as well. Keep an ear open for his Plasma Blade sound effects, his wind jingle, victory, and Taunt 2 voice lines. The bundle also includes 25,000 coins and 250 Aether bucks, so lots of fun stuff. I personally thought we'd be getting that new legendary Renburn skin this week around, but I really do like this Forestburn skin. He doesn't really have a skin in this aesthetic yet, so I'm a big fan. And if you want to support me, you can always use code LASTSTOCK whenever buying skins. Next, we got some new skins, or palettes, for Midnight Abyss Raster and Black Smoke Clan Rano. I really like this color palette on Rano. I think it's really sick. It makes him kind of scary. I think the red eyes pop a lot. And we also got Tactical Ranger Forestburn. I like this more like dusty red color on this futuristic suit. It's kind of like a clashing color scheme with the futuristic design, so I'm a big fan of that. Next, we got a handful of icons, including some from, it looks like, Creatures of Aether with the characters from the ABSA trailer. I didn't know that they had more of these icons like lined up. It feels like we're always getting the Creatures style icons, which I'm a fan of. However, on to what we're all waiting for, the gameplay updates. There's a lot of these general updates, and then a small passover over most of the cast, as well as big changes to Crag and Lorena, I believe, so we'll get to those in a minute. First up though, they fixed achievement detection when playing on a server. And new advanced control option, DI Assist. DI Assist makes it so that if your DI angle is within 23 degrees of perpendicular DI, it'll get rounded to be fully perpendicular. This is enabled by default. It was previously always enabled, but now you can disable it if you want more precise control over your DI angles. So if you don't go in and change the setting, nothing is going to change for you. However, if you feel like your DI feels a little bit weird, feel free to go in here, you'll get more precise DI angles if you do disable this. Air dodge angle rounding threshold has gone from 12 degrees to 20. This means that any air dodge angle within 20 degrees of a cardinal direction will be rounded to that cardinal direction. This makes it a little more lenient to get a fully horizontal waveland, but doesn't affect buffered wave dashes since they already had 20 degrees of rounding. Releasing shield to air dodge out of tumble will now only work if you initially press shield during tumble or ledge slip. It already worked this way for ledge slip state, so this makes it consistent between the two states. This is important since ledge slip transitions directly into the tumble state, and this will reduce unintentional air dodges. Basically, if you're getting hit by a move and you're pressing shield, or your shield button at that time, now you won't accidentally air dodge on your first actionable frame if the buffer window is in that window. The joystick magnitude will now affect the strength of DI. This means that if you hold your joystick halfway in a direction, your DI will be half as effective. This allows for more precise control of your DI. A magnitude of 0.9 will give you the max DI angle to account for improperly calibrated joysticks. So there is like a margin of error here, but you can kind of control your DI a little bit more now and that kind of tweak like how much your angle actually affects you. Extra DI angle degrees per repeated move has gone from 2 to 3. This makes it reach the maximum value of 6 degrees on the second repeat attack, instead of the third, so the effect is a bit more effective earlier. This means basically that if someone's clicking the same button on you every single time and stringing them together, your DI will get stronger after the second hit, so you'll be able to escape that a little bit faster. Forward strong converting into up strong and down strong in the first 2 frames no longer requires a hard press upward or downwards. Previously, it wouldn't swap attacks if your vertical joystick position was outside the dead zone when the forward strong started. For a quick bug fix, hitting an opponent's in shield stun with a move that deals less shield stun will no longer reset the original attack's shield stun value, and will instead set it to the maximum of the new shield stun and the remaining shield stun from the previous attack. So your 2 attacks will be added together instead of resetting the first long shield stun one. This is kind of important for like Forestburn clone popping on shield. I wonder how that changes that up. That's actually a topic I cover in this week's video, so I might have to re-go over that script a little bit. Then, they fixed a bug where certain articles could fall through upward moving platforms. For example, Lorena's down special chair would fall through a Therian Forest platform while it was rising. fixed a bug where articles that spawn inside solid ground would be ejected in the wrong direction. For example, when performing after a ledge drop, Orcane's neutral special droplet would rise upward onto the stage instead of bouncing off the wall. This is a bummer for me. I would do this one a lot actually to poke at opponents, but you know, I think I'll find a way to live. For character changes though, we're gonna start with Rano. This kind of makes him a little bit unplayable, I think, but his ledge special hit stun multiplier has multiplied by 1 to 0.75. This very rarely matters, but if the opponent happens to miss the bubble after being launched backwards, the low angle and high knockback would leave them in an awful situation, especially if they're a fast faller. And truthfully, like, I really don't think this one matters at all. I very rarely see people miss the bubble out of this move. But I do think that it's funny that Rano, and as we'll see, Orcane get, like, nothing burger changes, you know? Like, but yeah, so Rano's ledge special is just going to be a little bit more consistent if you do miss that bubble. For Raster, parried slipstreams will no longer be reactivated when Raster hits and grabs an opponent. This significantly increases the reward for parrying the slipstream. So this is actually like a pretty big deal. It means that you're going to want to fish for those parries and that Raster's going to really have to change up his timing. Up Special's forearm, the forewing, is now intangible for the first 15 recovery frames. This allows Raster to sweet spot the ledge without his wing poking above the ledge. This actually really throws off my video for later on this week because I had a whole section about how you can poke Raster before you can snap the ledge. So that's quite a bummer for me, but a great deal for Raster players. I feel like this is one of his like big problems where he couldn't sweet spot ledge, and like if your opponent just like timed it right, they just hit you, and then like you're light as balls, you know, so you're gonna fly into that blast zone and die as Raster, and there's nothing you can do. So he'll be able to snap the ledge a little bit easier. For Crag, forward special cancel vertical speed boost has gone from 16.7 to 20.4, and the forward special cancel gravity has gone from 0.6 to 0.9. Crag looked a little too floaty when performing his forward special cancel after the 1.5.5 changes, so we're going to meet somewhere in the middle. These new values keep the ledge grab height approximately the same. So overall, this side B should just be a little bit faster, which in my opinion is good for Crag. I feel like this side B was maybe a little bit too slow, right? But I also did like having Crag in a state where his recovery was weaker, but hopefully this middle ground feels pretty good. To make up for those changes though, the forward special cancel frame has gone from 5 to 7. To offset the quicker ledge grab that the new physics give him, we're adding 2 frames to the startup before Crag launches himself. Now he'll only grab ledge 2 frames faster than the previous version. So overall, like, he should still have a hard time grabbing that ledge, so you can probably do like a drop zone nair into him, right? You have counterplay that you can still do here, so I'm curious to see how that shakes up his balance. Forward special cancel horizontal speed boost has gone from 13.5 to 14.2. With the higher gravity, a greater horizontal speed boost is necessary to make sure the horizontal ledge grab distance isn't reduced by too much. Hitting Crag will now make you immune to pillar fall for 1 second. Hitting Crag on his pillar was often too risky, because he could floor hug the hit, cancel hit stun by sliding off the pillar, and then break the pillar instantly before the opponent could get off of it, sending them into the bottom blast zone if a wall wasn't nearby. Now, they'll be sent into the ledge slip state, instead of being able to act shortly after. So this basically means that you'll be immune to going into that freefall state from being on pillar, as long as you do successfully land the hit on Crag. Spiking Crag into the ground while he's holding a rock will now make him drop his rock and send him into knockdown. Previously, spiking Crag while he's holding a rock would often be disadvantageous for the attacker, since he'd go into the hit stun land and be able to throw rock as soon as it ended. This only applies when Crag is sent downwards, since dropping rock anytime he would go into the knockdown would make it too easy for Crag to get rid of his rock while being punished for holding it. So basically, spiking Crag is going to be a little bit more consistent now, but you're going to have to be aware of this interaction to get your full punishes and follow-ups because it is new. Moving on to Clarin, Up Tilt Sour Spot knockback has been edited. This move's reward was a bit too high for its size, especially as a Sour Spot. This change makes it so that it knocks down later, and reduces the combo potential at lower percents, while the extra scaling makes sure it's not too good at comboing at high percents. Downstrong hit 1 backwards and upwards range have been reduced. This move is intended to hit high in the bag, but it was reaching a bit too high, so we're toning that down slightly. I think this is kind of funny, people talked about this like on the last patch with Force Burn downstrong getting reduced, so Clarin has also had that treatment. Downstrong 1 tipper knockback has been edited, and the tipper knockback for the second hit has also been changed. This move was going a bit too early, especially for the number of setups Claren had that led into it. So we're toning down the knockback of each tipper, and it's not by a ton, it went from like 1.2 to 1.1, right? So not anything too crazy. I will note though that the up tilt only got changed for the sour spot, so if you sweet spot it still, the move's going to still be super lethal, but maybe it won't be quite as good on opponents standing on the ground. I think that's kind of the goal that they're going for. For Loxodon, the neutral special Molten Boulder's base damage has gone up from 4 to 6. Neutral special Molten Boulder charge max charge damage multiplier has gone from 3 to 2. This changes the interaction between Uncharged Molten Boulder and Lorena's chair, due to a chair change mentioned later in these patch notes. I feel like this is kind of like a buff for Loxodon, right? Like you're probably normally using the Uncharged Boulder more than the fully charged Boulder, so just having more damage on that is a pretty good deal. Orcane, unfortunately, just like Rano, got Giga nerfed this patch. His neutral and down special droplet damage have gone from 6 to 5. Big deal there. This change, it changes the interaction between the droplets and the Lorena chair, due to a chair change mentioned later in these patches. Orcane and Loxodon have so much in common today. For Olympia, she got a quick bug fix. Her forward special will now come off cooldown when she gets hit. For Absa, her charged neutral special will no longer put neutral special or forward special on a cooldown. These cooldowns were meant for the uncharged version and didn't serve much of a purpose on the charged version, so we're going to remove them. Forward special cloud acceleration has gone from 1.2 to 1.4 for the first 15 frames, and then decreasing linearly to 0.9 over the next 12 frames. The goal of the 1.5.5 acceleration changes were to tighten the window for high percent, long distance forward special cloud extensions, but it also affected the short and mid-range cloud usage. The new version of the move directly targets the intended nerf with fewer side effects. So you can see here kind of like a linear scale of how fast cloud will go, right? So now it's going to be like slower at like longer ranges as you use it for further, but it's much faster at those close ranges, so it's still good to cover those burst options. Moving on to Galvin, Dash Grab now has a low inner hitbox, similar to his normal grab. This prevents awkward whiffs where the opponent is right on top of him, so he's got a new little armpit grab box. I've been asking for that, the Galvin armpit grab box. I think he really needed that. Moving on to our final character, Lorena, she's actually got a good handful of changes. Projectiles that deal less than 6% will no longer knock back the chair or put it on cooldown. This makes the chair much more resilient, both on and off stage. So as we saw, Orcane Droplet won't knock it back, but something like the Boulder from Loxodon will. For a quick bug fix, forward special will now come off cooldown when she gets hit. Forward special will reverse momentum when B reversing instead of just turning around. When B reversing this move, the initial pullback turns into forward movement and gives it an extra 170 centimeters of range. With this change, the extra distance is reduced to only 118 centimeters. Forward special will now have a 20 frame cooldown after hitting an opponent with the non-spike version. This prevents her from doing another forward special for 8 frames after the recovery ends. Combined with the B reverse momentum change, this prevents Lorena from landing a second forward special after the opponent DIs the first one away. Up tilt now has a hitbox at the bottom on the first active frame. This prevents the move from whiffing against opponents that are too low to the ground. And forward strong whiff recovery has gone from 26 to 32. This move was a bit too hard to punish on whiff, considering that it also beats shield. So pretty good changes for Lorena overall, like her chair is going to be a lot more formidable now into opponents like Orcane, maybe like Maple, and Raster for example, right? I believe his slipstream only does 5. I might be crazy on that one, you guys might have to correct me in the comments down below. So Lorena will probably feel a lot more consistent, right? Like you'll kind of have a good idea of like what you're doing with chair and how you're going to manage it in a matchup, even if your opponent does have a projectile. And Crag should feel a little bit better when recovering, and Claren should feel a little bit less oppressive at those lower percents, with especially her up tilt, and then her down strong's not going to be quite as lethal, which is always good to hear. I think the game's moving in a really good direction though, but let me know down in the comments how these changes have affected your main. I'm really curious how Crag and Raster players are feeling with the better recoveries, and how Claren mains might be feeling in especially like the early stages of neutral, right, where both players are kind of at that lower percent. How's she feeling there? But thanks tons for watching, and I'll see you guys later this week with a more scripted video. Bye for now!